You have to be careful about making a weird show or watching a weird show.
Hello, this is Greg Smalley on Pod 366, a Weird Movies podcast. Joined today, as I frequently am, by the incisive Giles Edwards.
Hello.
Hello. Very incisive hello there. Up top, next week, we will have a guest on the show. Been a long time, but we're going to have, and I am guessing sort of at the pronunciation here, W.M. Weikart of Soul to Squeeze, which Giles reviewed last week and is indeed a weird movie. Will be on to discuss his movie and other movies with us. One other comment, last week we did a roundup of Crispin Glover movies, and there was a comment on that video from a director who has directed another Crispin Glover movie. That's it's called, let me make sure I get the title, Blind Bargain. It is in festivals right now, stars Crispin Glover. It's from Paul Bunnell, who did, was it The Deadly Love of Johnny X, a musical, cult movie type musical a while back. And we'll have him on at some point, I'm sure, after that is more widely released. But as for now, this week we're just gonna go through the new releases as we usually do. And there are nothing in theaters, all physical media, and but some exciting titles, some very exciting titles. So, can you see the exciting titles?
I can see 6 very exciting images here.
Okay. Let us get started with the first exciting image, which Giles will now describe for our viewers who are not able to see it.
All right, this is a black and white still from a movie. Background, we can see some wall tiling and a sink, which suggests a sort of, I don't know, clinical or laboratorial milieu here. We can see an arm extending up to a white sort of smock or maybe even a medical or lab coat, and they are positioning or otherwise holding on to the item at the center of the screen, resting over a draped white cloth. There is a human-style mask that looks like it fits over everything except for the eyes.
Yeah, it's kind of like a mask of a face without any eyes.
Yeah, it sounds like a good movie title.
Or maybe we could workshop that movie title, because I can think of a better one. How about Eyes Without a Face?
Oh, okay. I mean, that might work for some. Sure.
And you can translate that into French to be precise.
Ah, yes.
Sans visage.
Les yeux sans visage.
Yes, such a human waste. It is Eyes Without a Face, a still from Eyes Without a Face. Of course, a canonically weird movie. This is out from Criterion Collection, and it is just a 4K upgrade. There's nothing new on it other than the fact that it is 4K. I think it's very appropriate Halloween viewing. Giles, have you seen Eyes Without a Face?
I haven't yet. Obviously, I should and almost certainly will. Looking at your review, this is number 5 on the list, and in a nearly 20-year-old review now.
Wow.
I do like the whatever horrible thing I'm going to guess the Americans did for Horror Chamber of Dr. Faustus as an early alternate title.
Yeah, they tried to sell it as it is definitely an art house horror film. They tried to sell it as a, kind of standard drive-in horror film in the United States by releasing it as the Horror Chamber of Dr. Faustus, which is very misleading because it's a super art housey, surrealist kind of horror. But it's the first in like the series of the movie plot about the person, woman, or doctor himself who has a scarred face and then has this surgical procedure to replace the face. And it gets quite gruesome because there's a face transplant surgery that's very gruesome for 1960s. So this was 1960, same year as Psycho. It's kind of marking a change in horror from the the monsters and the supernatural to these sort
Psychological? Psychological kind of thing?
yeah, but I think it even more is representing, realistic horror because people were finally starting to deal with the horror of the Holocaust 15 years later.
Gotcha.
So the monsters became more humans. Anyway, Eyes Without a Face, Criterion Collection. It's for people looking for a 4K upgrade, but a very wonderful movie. Of course, there would be a Blu-ray coming with that, and it also contains a pretty cool documentary by the director, short documentary by the director Georges Franju about slaughterhouse in Paris called Blood of the Beasts, which is also a very recommended extra feature. But speaking of 4K upgrades, here, this one,
wow.
just like a 4K
Yeah, I mean,
promotional spread. Giles, you want to describe what we see there?
We got a steelbook case. We see the exterior front and the interior, both halves of it, and also looks like there's a slip cover for your steelbook case to protect it, which has the main image of a somewhat dismayed-looking, shaggy-haired fellow with glasses as the dominant major figure, and then off to the sides there's a young brunette woman with a look of quiet concern. There's an ebullient, updo-haired fella in a necktie. As the images get smaller, there's a slightly more sinister, sort of hunched, leaning in dude. And off to the left, let's see, I think I can zoom in here a little bit. Oh, it looks like, is that a smashed up bicycle, motorbike kind of thing? So, a lot of little bits and bobs on the slip cover there, mostly a portrait of this fella in his, I'm going to say, late 20s, early 30s. And inside we see, a rather grisly looking sort of basement institutional looking thing, like I don't know, the worst part of a prison cell when they're about to poke at you badly, with an exit sign illuminated. Looks like an advertisement for maybe shampoo or mouthwash or something. And on the left-hand side, there's a figure in a sort of elevated box cage with a cloth over his head and a horrible round fluorescent light hovering just about a foot above him. So all told, that looks rather icky. And flattened in this image for us are the two discs that no doubt come with this, one of them being 4K and the other less so.
It's Blu-ray, and there is a title on it.
Yes.
It's a little blurry, but you can probably make it out.
I can see that this is for Jacob's Ladder.
Right. So Jacob's Ladder, 4K upgrade again, just like the Eyes Without a Face one. Although this does have an extra bonus feature that's not available on other issues. It's a featurette called The Rungs of Jacob's Ladder, and they tell us nothing about it other than the title. This is from Lionsgate. It's one of those Lionsgate limited releases. It's a steelbook, of course, and only available currently from the Lionsgate store. So you'll have to go there to purchase it. It is for collectors or people who need a 4K upgrade. It does have all the extra features from the previous editions, which includes 2 commentaries and some deleted scenes and etc. Now, Giles, you have seen Jacob's Ladder, I believe.
Yes, I did the new review for the book.
That would be how I knew you had seen it.
Yeah, so it is a one of those unlikely movies that thankfully had the money and care put into it for the story it wanted to tell.
And how would you describe that story briefly for anyone who hasn't seen Jacob's Ladder
Hmm.
without giving it away? The secret.
Uh, yeah, it's Vietnam veteran guy who turns to the U.S. and either takes up or resumes his job as a postman and has is it is a chiropractor? Is that the guy?
There's a chiropractor in it.
Yeah. So he's got there's got some good things going on in his life, but he keeps having these recurring long form flashback dream things from his time at war, and it's pretty unclear what is going on with his mind,
Yeah.
except a lot of unpleasantness.
Yes, you see some very demonic figures.
Uh,
And he may have been exposed to a chemical agent.
yes.
So, Jacob's Ladder by Adrian Lynn, of all people, known for more erotic thrillers type things later in his career, but this is more of a psychological thriller. Piece of trivia about this movie is the screenplay was considered one of the great unfilmed screenplays for many years before this got taken up.
Okay, yeah, I see looking at his the director's other famous movies, yes, Fatal Attraction, 9.5 Weeks, and Indecent Proposal, all of which are fairly dissimilar
Yeah, quite a bit dissimilar.
from this movie.
It's very, very much an outlier in Adrian Lynn's catalog.
Certainly thematically, I mean, there is a genuine sense of style, which I suppose there's probably some overlap if I were to watch things with a more critical eye. But yeah, definitely different topics to be sure.
Yeah. This is from earlier in his career. Okay, Jacob's Ladder, 4K upgrade, also a Blu-ray, so very nice looking presentation. The image of the man with no legs and his head covered in that what is a hospital room is truly one of the most terrifying surrealist images in a horror movie like that, I think.
Oh yeah, that whole sequence is. Ugh.
The sequence is great, yes. The
Oh
sequence
yeah.
is great. Okay, but that was Jacob's Ladder. But now we move on to, we have 4 releases after this that are of movies, all from outside the United States, the various countries that have not been seen by most Americans, very few at all. And we're going to start out with this still, Giles. Describe what's
All right.
going on here.
Well, this is a Japanese girl, maybe mid-teens or so, hard to say necessarily. And this is an interesting angle. It's as if this face is looking down, straight down at us, because we can see behind her the underside of a street lamp as well as a couple building cranes. So where this is a ground-up POV kind of thing at this girl who may have a shawl or something over her head, but the defining characteristics of this face, there is a four-pointed silver reflective star in the middle of her forehead. Each of her 2 eyes have, shall we say, a light reflecting glare that isn't quite natural. And connecting her upper right eye to, I guess, the middle of her lower part of her nose is this sort of speckled chain of orange light dots that is somehow making a kind of bar shape between those parts of the face there as she looks down at us.
Oh yeah, there's all kinds of prisms and
Mm.
reflections and refractions going on in this image, and a lot of the movie apparently looks like this, and it is called School in the Crosshairs. Oh, from Obayashi, I won't do his first name, Obayashi, known for Hausu, which came out in 1977. This is 1981. School in the Crosshairs 4 years later, and apparently um, uses a lot of the same aesthetic as that first one. Although, if you watch the trailer that Cult Epics provided, it makes it almost look like a high school comedy. Um,
Yeah.
but looking at the reviews, that is not really what it is at all. And you can find other images on the internet that are more akin to this one.
Yeah.
So apparently, it is set in a high school, and it stars Hiroku Yakushimaru, was
Yakushimaro.
a
Yeah, that's about it.
early pop icon at Japan before the pop icons, became
World Pop.
what they are now. But
Yeah, I guess all things considering, you look at the tone of Hausu, I could see this director combining high school comedy with the more troubling elements that crop up in here, and obviously the more supernatural elements.
well, indeed. But my only thing was when you cut the trailer, why did you leave out all the psychedelic type stuff?
That is a good question.
Trying to mislead people, but that's what's going to attract most people to this movie. Is the Hausu style
Mm.
craziness. So, it's about a high school student who finds she has psychic powers, and then there is an alien invasion, and it's turning their high school into like a fascist type situation. She must use her newfound psychic powers to fight the aliens. We have some nice set of reviews here. One calls it a dreamlike atmosphere, vibrant colors, eerie landscapes, unconventional narrative structure. Another says the same surrealist sensibility and relentless visual experimentation of Hausu. And a third one says, if you love the super colorful and crazy visuals of House, then you'll adore School in the Crosshairs. So 4 Obayashi movies were re-released by Cult Epics this year. This one is the one we are most excited about. Available on Blu-ray or for really old folks, DVD, not VHS. And it is only a 2K transfer, so
That's probably keeping it honest, as it were.
they are. I admire the honesty. Not everything has to be 4K. I can't see the difference between 2K and 4K on my machines anyway. School in the Crosshairs. Pretty excited for that one, must admit.
Yeah, duh.
Any final thoughts on School in the Crosshairs, Joe?
To echo your excitement, I read the description. I read the little blurb about what kind of style it was using. So yeah, this is something I'll be happy. I'd be happy to check out too.
Okay. Let's go on to another one that's another
Hmm.
release. Here's a Blu-ray cover for you to describe, Giles.
Yeah, all right. Well, this is done in a sort of oil painting portrait kind of style. There's a rather, I'm going to say, generically 19th century clad gentleman with one of those cravat poofy things around the neck, very high collar, black sleeve jacket thing, and a rather dramatic expression on his cream to blue toned face, as decided by the artist's palette here, with red lips on this fella and a pair of pointed teeth on either side of the mouth. But what's this? There seems to be the effect like this portrait has been ripped away and curled off to the side, and what do we see but the hood of a rather sporty looking black vehicle? And what's this? Even more has been pulled aside, for on this picture of this car's hood, that's been ripped too, and we see inside a collection of organs, instead of, motor parts.
Yeah.
A lot of layers to this one here.
Yes, very layered image. And it is, you see for some reason, the director's name has been like
Nail.
tacked on to uh, the cover.
Yeah. Yeah, it's Jruraj Herz.
And it looks like it might be written in blood,
Maybe. Yeah.
kind of.
Ah, the nail to the chest of the guy. Yeah, yeah, it's going to be some blood at hand anyway when you're writing that note.
Yeah.
Uh,
And the title of the movie is Ferat Vampire. Ferat's a very strange word. It turns out Ferat is a fictional car company.
okay.
Maybe meant to evoke Ferrari,
Uh,
perhaps. This is a Czech movie, so it's a fictional Czech car manufacturer, Ferat. I think you can see a little F logo on the car too.
yep, yep. And looking up the model, it looks like the most it ever became was a concept car back in the 70s.
If you watch the trailer, you will see the sports car. It's very, very low to the ground, kind of cool looking. This movie, the plot basically is you have a vampire race car.
Yeah.
That is it, and it's played pretty straight. Once again, a art house type of horror movie, but with a very absurdist premise. And from Herz, who did The Cremator and Morgiana and a lot of other very well received Czech new wave movies. And this one, I think, doesn't get the best reviews overall. However, it is implied that it is a cult item with a number of people who really love it and strongly defend it, while it turns off a lot of people, which sounds pretty good to me.
Oh yeah. And the car looks great. I'm looking up. It's the Skoda 110 Super Sport Ferat from 1971 is what that car is supposed to be. The entire front cab lifts up for the passengers to go inside, which is very strange, and I guess the kind of thing that might catch the eye and make someone want to do a movie about a car like that. That's a vampire.
Yeah, I won't give away too much about the very little I know about it, but it's about a vampire car. That's if you want to see a movie about a vampire car, and especially if you want to see a movie about a vampire car done by one of the iconic directors of the Czech New Wave, then you know who you are and you want to check this out. It is from Severin, and Severin, with this release, is trying to push themselves, it seems, into the Vinegar Syndrome and Arrow type release, which is just packed with extras and neat packaging and the booklets and stuff, because they advertised that this has 5 hours of special features. I think the way they came to that number is by adding up the 2 separate audio commentaries together, but there is a lot of other stuff.
There's a 60-minute Czech TV movie.
Yeah, there's a
Which you probably won't find anywhere else.
bonus movie, Strange Airlines, Czech TV movie, and there's the original short story is in the booklet, and then there are 2 commentaries, both with film historians or film critics, not with anybody associated with the movie, but they have interviews with actress Yana Brezkova, with the screenwriter. They have a video essay. They have interviews, archival interviews, I suppose, with Herz and his actors. Interview with the guy who built the prototype for the automobile, and another documentary feature looking at the automobile.
Yeah, I could see myself paying twice what they're asking for if you also got like a little Matchbox car.
Nah, that's a good idea. Yes, if you look at the trailer, you'll see that that car looks very cool and doesn't look like a vampire per se, but the way the vampire plays into it is pretty strange, I would say. Um, we've seen other movies about living cars, and we've seen a movie about a vampire motorcycle, which was done more as a low-budget spoof.
Hmm.
This is the only serious movie about a vampire car I can think of, though. Um, I will say the trailer has some quotes like deeply weird,
Mhm.
and there are comparisons to David Cronenberg because I guess of the idea of mixing biology and mechanics.
Yeah, wherever you see organs that you don't expect them, the word Cronenberg will appear somewhere.
And Cronenberg also had a separate, less prominent fixation on automobiles.
Oh,
He
yeah.
did Crash, and one of his earliest films was actually like a racing movie, a racing exploitation movie. So
Hmm.
that's Ferat Vampire from Herz, Jruraj Herz from Severin on Blu-ray, not on 4K. Fine with me. And it's a movie that very few people in the West have seen. And we're going to go keep with that theme on movies very few people in the West have seen with this next new release. Want to describe this movie poster, I'd say?
Sure, we got a simple color scheme, a sort of powder, crimson powder pink, some black, some off-white, and oh, I'm gonna say a dusty teal are the only four shades we're looking at here. And this is done up kind of jumble style, like I think constructivist was the era, whatever early we'll say early Soviet filmmaking style of posters back before the hammer came down. And centered is a bearded military aristocratic fellow with a high collared, regal, but also martial shirt or overcoat with epaulets and medals and the like, staring up into the noble distance, fully bearded and mustached. And behind this face is, it looks like the same face, maybe each side of it, profile view of a fellow looking to either, to the left and to the right, same individual. And centered over the main figure with the mustache, beard, and martial shirt is that crimson powder pink dot, and then surrounding it there's another sort of orb thing that suggests that there's a dot within a dot, and I'm probably not pushing this too far with the black smudge in the middle that there's kind of an eyeball appearance that forms from the layering of these circles over this stylized near photographic representation of whoever this martial autocrat might be.
Yeah, he might be a czar.
Might be.
Um, Now, so the title is on there.
Yes.
And what is that title?
That title is The Assassin of the Tsar.
And also are the actors on there?
Yes. Let's see. Oh, Malcolm McDowell. That's a name I've heard.
Yeah.
And of course, not to undersell Oleg Yankovsky.
Now, do you know who Oleg Yankovsky is? You'd probably recognize him if you saw him.
I think I did recognize, and certainly the name sounds familiar, but I
The
have to.
very distinguished Russian Soviet.
Ah, yes, yes. I saw him moving a candle from one point to another.
Yes, famously moved a candle from one point to another in Nostalgia, Tarkovsky's Nostalgia. So, yeah. So he stars with Malcolm McDowell. That's a pretty hefty, weird credentials for your actors there.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's Malcolm McDowell went to the Soviet Union. Then at this is the Perestroika era. This is the I forget what year it came. Let me see if I can.
Yeah, I'm trying to take a peek.
91. So
Okay.
right before the fall of the Soviet Union. Very open. And McDowell went over there, and they made two versions. McDowell spoke his lines in English, and the Russian cast spoke in Russian. And so there's one version in English with all the Russian cast dubbed, and then there's one version in Russian with only Malcolm McDowell dubbed.
Okay.
And the versions are different. They have different running lengths, and they have different soundtracks. And both, of course, would be included on this disc. The plot is, let me see, I'll just read it. It's described as a labyrinthine psychological drama in which the tormented chambers of a patient mind come to warp everything about him, even the folds of history itself. McDowell stars as Timofeyev, a severe schizophrenic in a dreary Soviet mental hospital, who is convinced that, and possibly, he's the killer of two Tsars, Alexander II in 1881 and Nicholas II in 1918. The sympathetic head of the hospital, Dr. Smirnov, that's Yankovsky, is determined to cure him of his madness, but instead finds he's literally pulled back through time, inhabiting the ghosts of the past as they march towards their tragic destiny. So, yes, not sure how weird it is. Sounds pretty weird from the synopsis. Will say that the director, Karen Shakhnazarov, did Zerograd and White Tiger. Zerograd, a very weird movie. White Tiger, a little bit of a weird movie as far as I know. And the trailer, once again, makes it seem like a fairly straightforward drama set inside a mental hospital.
Hmm.
I think there is a lot more to it than that, and a lot stranger to it than that. One final thing, hate to say it, but we have to sort of acknowledge the controversy here about Shakhnazarov. This was back in 91. Right now, he is basically a Soviet Russian Putin propagandist who appears on national TV to defend and promote Putin's views. Not a very disappointing to hear that he's come to that in his old age, but not really a reason in my mind to boycott his movies from his youth.
From, yeah, what, 36 years ago. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Oh, yeah, looked neat. And Malcolm McDowell amidst a bunch of Russians was itself drawing enough for me to be curious.
Yeah, certainly a very intriguing setup for the movie. Assassin of the Tsar. That's from, I believe, Deaf Crocodile, as is
Yes.
our final entry, which we here have another sort of, it's probably the Blu-ray cover, if you'd like to describe that as best you can, Giles. Probably don't have
All
time.
right. Well, this has images from several different animation styles. Featured most prominently, there is a young boy or girl, unclear from just this front view, very cherubic looking, but also science fiction-y looking kid, maybe 6, 7, or 8, I don't know. They're standing next to sort of this bird thing with some glorious top plumage to go with a feathery neck. What's it? Smiling, looking off into a cosmos to the right. And also with this kid, there's a strange sort of puddle-headed, almost, I guess, pyramid-shaped headed entity with a very bulbous pink nose, a wide, somewhat amorphous mouth. Seems to have a kind of mustache thing going on with some seaweedy-looking green hair there. The eyes kind of look like, I don't know, barrels of guns or some sort of projectile. What's it? And it looks like there's a mine on top of the head as a little sort of hat thing. That's one of the arcs here, and we go down to the left. There's a smaller arc of this concerned looking, somewhat realistic but cartoon face, observing four figures walking on a green to white to black backdrop with, over terrain that looks like I'm not sure what they are, but like a series of flaming torches laid flat beneath these trekking entities. And the smallest part of this curved picture, bottom left corner, is there's a water thing going on. Looks like maybe idyllic meadows and the like, some flowers. But in the foreground of this tiny part of the cover here, there's I don't know, almost Roman marble style drawn figure of maybe a mechanical man, maybe just a stone man, some sort of improbably well-built fellow with a high forehead and big, thick, wavy hair-esque stuff flowing from the back of his head. So this is a jumble of weird, futury, spacey what's-its,
Yeah.
all put together.
And it is from the Treasures of Soviet Animation, Volume 1. So we have more of this to come. This from Deaf Crocodile. The three features are The Mystery of the Third Planet by Roman Kachanov, who, that one is 45 minutes. That is the big arc, and it has sort of a cartoonish, children's cartoon style aesthetic to it. Some very strange things in there. There's a flying cow you can see in the trailer. The other two are both from Vladimir Tarasov. They're both shorter, and they're called The Pass and The Return. They are done in a more stylized type of animation for adults that I think at times resembles Fantastic Planet. All these films were made between 1980 and 1988 from a small studio in the Soviet Union called, I'm going to say, Soyuz Multfilm.
Close enough for me.
Sure, Soyuz Multfilm. And they're all three science fiction films, which would be a way for the Soviets of the time to get some more fantastical imagery into their movies. In the 80s, the sort of the censorship around enforcing socialist realism was probably starting to drip away, and you were able to get away with some more, especially if you're doing something in cartoon form and short movie form. So that's Treasures of Soviet Animation. Looks very interesting, some very surreal imagery in there. Yeah. And we are pretty much done. Do you have any final comments, Giles?
Well, in our final 20 seconds, I want to thank you for liking, subscribing, buying the book, and also keep an eye out for our chat with Weikart.
Yes, WM Weikart coming up next podcast. And we will see you then. And so goodbye, everybody. Like, subscribe, etc. Do everything Giles tells you to.
Weird. Yeah, I guess that is the word for it. Weird.